Where'd you go to sleep last night? You said you'd tell me when you'd go. You stuttered when I asked you, dear. I heard your
What's
heartbeat
up?
in your
Welcome
throat.
to Just Chill.
I keep on rolling around this town, rolling around this town, but nobody wants to see me. Nobody wants to see me. I keep rolling around this town, rolling around this town, but nobody wants to see me. Nobody wants to see me. I'm bringing them down.
Okay, so welcome to Neil.
Thanks.
Welcome to the show. So glad to have you. The audience has been asking for you for so long. What'd you say?
Long. At least like 3 Thursdays.
Yeah, honestly, they're like, when is Tenille gonna come on? Everyone else has sucked. We just want Tenille.
Right? That's why I'm here. I'm here to save the podcast.
Yeah, it's been going downhill, but I told him, you know what, guys, wait. We have something in store.
Hold on.
Just wait for it. Okay, so
All right. And Alexa's podcast. See you guys later. It's over.
what? I think I got makeup on my computer, so that's very good. Okay, Tenille, I asked Brady and Brittany to describe their perfect day, so let's have you describe your perfect outfit. No, how sexist. Let's have you, how about your biggest pet peeve?
Canadian geese.
Why only Canadian?
Listen.
What's the
because
difference?
what they're called? Like the geese that are all over the place. Aren't they called Canadian geese?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I thought they were just geese.
No, because they're like different kind. You have like white geese with like orange bills, and then you have Canadian geese that are Canadian,
That's crazy.
other geese that are other types. But Canadian geese, like seriously, because they're all over the place and they poop all over everything and they don't get out of the way when you're
Right.
driving. It's like, hit me, come at me, bro. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you are a goose.
Yeah.
And you might not know it. They're like the little dogs of geese, you know, like they think they're bigger than they are.
I was talking about, I don't know who, probably with, my friend Justine, about dogs, and she's like, I love dogs, but why are there little dogs?
Right? I mean, you love little dogs because they're like permanent puppies.
Yeah.
But that's not how Canadian geese are. They're like permanent Pomeranian yappy dogs.
Oh my
and
gosh. Yeah.
Nobody wants permanent
Yeah.
Pomeranian puppies.
And they just poop everywhere, and you can't pick it up.
No,
it's
because
just
it's gross.
it's a
And they're
public.
mean.
Yeah.
Like, they're super, like, I'm not kidding. One time when we lived back in Dublin on our cul-de-sac, I turned down our street and there was just this line of geese right across the road and I couldn't go past them because they were just a line and they just stood there and we had this stare down and they were like, you want to go home? Too bad, we're geese. And I was like, what?
Like,
And
first of all,
it took like 3 minutes for them to finally waddle out of the way, and I was like almost hitting them, and they were just honking at me like, "Hello, no," and it was kind of terrifying.
Right.
So, biggest pet peeve: Canadian geese.
right, and they could hurt you. So it's not even like you can chase them off. Like, they can come back and attack you because they're half of you.
Right. Like, what was they gonna do? Get out of the car? No. Are you crazy?
I'm not trying to die tonight.
One time, when Mom will corroborate this story. Oh, baby's squealing. It's not me. One time, we were at the zoo when we were little. I don't remember this, obviously. But we were at the zoo, and Brady almost got attacked by a goose at the zoo because they're just mean.
But
I don't know
wasn't he? No. Wasn't he being a butt to them though?
That's not The point is not what you do to them, it's what they do. We don't need to talk about the fact that Brady was probably throwing rocks at them, trying to steal their eggs. They're just mean.
It's not about why they were doing it, it's the fact that they do it.
Right. Like, it doesn't matter if they're justified. No. We're not talking about that. We're talking about...
That's funny. Okay, Tenille is, she is a white female, if you were confused.
You profiling me right now?
From not Canada, if you were wondering, because of her accent.
But I didn't say A. I don't have an accent.
She's from Ohio, but she lives in upstate New York with her husband and her 2 daughters. And that's the story of Tenille.
Yep, that's it. I'm pretty boring.
But she moved out, and so that makes her exciting.
Oh, no. No.
So fun. She's just living the life of a stay-at-home mom, which is the best.
Don't tell people that. Then you make me sound like I just stay at home and be a mom.
The thing is, though, is there's like 0 things wrong with that, because that sounds amazing, and I think that's the goal that everyone wants to have, where they don't have to work and they're living the life, being with their kids, having gossip lawn parties with their neighbors.
Yeah, you sit in your lawn chair with your feet in the kiddie pool while your kids whine at you.
I cannot wait. So you're living my dream, pretty much. You know what's so funny? Dad was asking me, he's like, you need to fix your podcast because there's just random breaks. Like, why does it go from one thing to another? I'm like, what are you talking about? And he's like...
Is he talking about the music?
What?
Is he talking about your music breaks?
He's like, well, it doesn't make sense. Like, you go from, like, no, he's like, I like the music, but it doesn't make sense because it goes from, like, talking about one thing and then you're just on the next thing. I'm like, but that's why I have the music, because we talk about random things and it wouldn't make sense if we just kept going. He's like, but why in one time was it, like, randomly just you and Hannah and Llama talking, and then it was Brady and Brittany? And I was like, you didn't finish the last episode. So it went from that episode into the next one, you ding dong. What are you talking about?
Or you probably did finish it and it was on like autoplay. This comes down to technology. I can't wait until I am old enough to just do things that don't make sense and then have people blame it on my age. Because that's what it is. Like, that's my dream. Just to be that big grandma that's wearing culottes out in her yard, like watering her cement geese, and people will be like, what is happening? And I'll, what? You know?
Okay, Grandma, did you know these you know why these flowers are still alive? Because they're plastic and they've been plastic for the last 12 years. No, it's because I've been watering them.
Watering them. And I'll be like, your roses die every winter, but mine are still growing strong.
Mine are still kicking, Gloria. Suck on that.
Dolores, what do you think about that?
Okay, have you seen this one video? It was like a Vine, I think, and someone was videotaping like these women in a nursing home, and they were like moving so slow, but one of the ladies was like, she was like mad, and so she like hit her with her purse, but because, you know, old women don't have any strength, she like hit her, and it was like barely anything, and then the lady got mad and she turned around and like slowly started going after the other lady, and like the nurses were like, no, but it was so funny because everything was so slow. So good, because like you never think of like grandmas like that, but like, I mean, they're still like human and they're still like women who get ticked and stuff. Like, it's so funny.
I can't wait.
So
Because
funny.
he's gonna say, like, the other day, I was at the grocery store, and, so the lady in front of me was, you know, the typical, like, super old lady, like, kind of hunched over, and it took her, like, 20 minutes to put all her groceries up on the belt.
Right.
And she even, like, asked me to look at the expiration date on the bagel she picked up because she couldn't read it. And so, like, but anyways, and she's like, she's like, excuse me, where did you put them in the bag? Well, are they by themselves? And she's like, I think I put them with the bagels. Well, can you put them by themselves? Because when I got home last week, I had 2 broken eggs, and I don't want broken eggs. And I'm like, oh my goodness. And she's like, I don't care if I sound like a crotchety old lady. I don't want broken eggs. And I'm like, I can't wait till I'm old enough to yell at cashiers for doing nothing wrong just because I'm so old.
Right.
Like, that's my dream. Not this thing. I just want to be able to yell at people. I want to be a Canadian goose and get away with it. Okay.
So honestly, they're not your pet
That's
peeve.
like-
You're just like, you're so jealous of them.
We've come full circle.
Yeah. Wow, it's good to know. It's really good to look deep inside and understand why you have these pet peeves, you know?
Because oftentimes the people or things that you dislike the most in common with them. And there you go. That's why I don't like Canadian geese, because I'm secretly a goose.
Yeah. Wow, this is great. Okay,
It
so
seems.
next on therapy.
I've been out here trying to see my homecoming, and of course somebody's always gonna say something. Try and shoot me down for voicing my own opinion, triggering a part of me that's always been indifferent. And I know that we have asked for change. Don't be scared to put the fist to shame. When you know what you got, sacrifice ain't there.
The other day, I was picking Lily up from school, and I was standing out there with all of the other parents who were waiting to pick up their children.
Uh-huh.
And I'm around, and I'm like, oh my gosh, like, when did I become the same age as other elementary school parents?
Yeah.
Like, when did that happen? And I'm 30, so yeah. And I was like standing out there looking, and it was just weird. And like, there are so many little nuances when you get to this age, and like, take your kids to the playground, or when you're at school, like picking them up from drama club, and like the other moms are just like not like judging you,
Yeah.
but like they expect you to act like you're another mom. And so, you know, like, you're supposed to talk about your kids and like what, you know, like ridiculous things like, oh my gosh, when my child was 18 months old, they were totally wearing 2 tea clothes. Isn't that crazy? And she took her first step when she was like 6 weeks old, right? Like, Einstein over, you know. And it's like, I don't want to talk about this crap. Like, I don't care what your kid did.
Right.
But then, like, when I pick up Lily, I feel like if you don't know everything about everyone, then like, you're wrong. And it's hard, like, when you're a mom, because you have to do all these things and know all this stuff, and nobody really knows what they're doing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that is the one thing that everyone has imposter syndrome, where they feel like they don't know what they're doing, but they have to act like they know what they're doing. That's what it's like being a mom.
Yeah.
Or having a job.
Yeah.
Or doing really anything in life.
Yeah, literally anything.
You just have to fake it till you make it. But that's like all of parenting. And then suddenly your kids move out and you're like, all right, I guess we did a good job, right? They're still alive. They're not in jail, hopefully, right? So we did a good job. But I think that's probably, if I had any issues, that would be what it is that I feel like I'm unprepared for everything all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, like I feel like, okay, not that I'm a mom, but like I feel like we're all, like when we're faced with something, even if we've been like in training for it forever, or like read so many books, like for parents, you know, or like for jobs, you literally went to school for it.
For jobs,
but
right,
like
for school, jobs, like anything.
Yeah,
like you don't.
You're so, like, it comes to it, or like you, like it comes up, or like you apply for something and you just feel so underqualified.
It's true, like, especially, so when after I had Lily, who is, just for the people listening, she's 8.5. After I had Lily, I went back to work when she was like a 1.5 years old, and so I hadn't worked in like, you know, 1.5 years, like, and when I went back to work, I was like, oh my gosh, I have no idea what I'm doing. And like, nothing was different from the last time that I had worked. Like, I knew how to use all of the systems and the computer, and like, you know, I quote unquote knew what I was doing, but every day I just felt like I'm gonna get fired any minute, and they're gonna figure out that I don't belong here, that I shouldn't be working here, that I don't know what I'm doing, that they shouldn't have hired me. Like, I am not intelligent enough to be doing anything in this building. But then, like, time goes by, and you look back on it, and you're like, man, I was, like, the most qualified person in that building when I left.
Right.
But then you go to the next job, and you're like, I have no idea what I'm doing. Oh, my gosh, I would get fired any minute. They're going to figure it out. But it's... Mama! Hi, baby. It's totally, like, that's just life. Like, you're never 100% prepared for anything, and I know that, but that doesn't change the fact that you still, like, every time I walk into that building and I stare at all these other moms, I'm like, am I here at the right time? Am I wearing the right clothes? Am I thinking the right things?
Right.
Is my Canadian goose showing? Like, what's happening, you know? Like,
my little tail? Is my tail showing?
Oh my gosh, do you forget to tuck that in?
Yeah.
You never feel prepared in life for anything.
Right, because, like, well, first of all, everyone is, like, different. And I think that's, like, the biggest thing is that, like, we forget is, like, if we see someone else who's being, like, super successful, then we're like, well, I should be able to do that because, like, I can do that. But then they're, like, we're just all different. So if you see a mom who's, like, because I remember listening to podcasts about this, like, with moms where they would go to work and, like, some, like, would, like, one was talking about how she, like, just missed her kids so much, and so she felt like a terrible mom for going back to work because you're supposed to be with your kids. But then there were other moms where it's like, I mean, I'm gonna see them later. Do I really have to, like, miss them so bad when I'm at work doing things, like, for them? Like, I'm getting money for them, and I'm, like, doing this to provide for them. So, like, yeah, I miss them, but, like, yeah, but then they'd feel bad for not missing them. So it's like everyone's just so different, but yet we all, like, feel like we need to fit this, like, exact mold of, like, what we need to be, how we need to feel, what we need to be doing, like, and if you're not fitting that, then, like, you're a failure, or, like, you know,
like, that was probably the biggest lesson that I learned once I became a mom at the ripe old age of 21, was that, like, for real, like, all my friends were out partying and I was at home dealing with one of the most difficult babies on the planet. Like, no joke. Like, just to ask people that babysat that child, she was awful. But anyway, the point is, like,
shout out to you babysitters out there. You're doing great.
Oh no kidding. But I was like, everyone tells you, you know, like, oh, no screen time for the children until they're 2, and like, you should use cloth diapers. No, you should use Huggies. Like, no, you should be formula feeding. No, you should be breastfeeding. No, you should, you know, like, everyone has their own opinion on literally every possible subject when it comes to not only parenting, but everything. And the thing that I learned is that you do what works for you. And there's nothing wrong with anything that you are doing. I have a baby dinosaur. I don't have a baby.
So good.
There's nothing wrong with anything that you're doing, as long as you're doing it to the best of your ability.
Right.
That's all anyone can ask for. And so many, like, our pediatrician, when Lily was 6 months old, was like, is she sleeping through the night? And I'm like, no, she still wakes up like every 2 hours. And I was like dead at that point. And she's like, you need to make her sleep through the night. You have to let her cry. And I'm like, okay. And I didn't feel right about that, but we did it anyway because that's what the pediatrician said. Yeah. And of course she, you know, it's not like she turned out to be a serial killer at 9. Like, she's fine. But still, it was like, we didn't do that with Linnea. Like, she still wakes up every 4 hours, and she's 18 months. And you know what? We're going to wait it out with her because that's what we feel like we should do. And that's part of parenting. Like, you do what feels right, and you trust your gut, and you trust your instincts, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, if the pediatrician tells me that I need to let her sleep through the night, I'm going to be like, you know what? No. Like, it's not like she come into my bedroom every 2 hours when she's, 16 years old. Like, that doesn't happen, And so it's like everything in its own time. And that's just part of life. Like, you feel like you don't know what you're doing, and so you look to other people. And there's nothing wrong with that either. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, you have to trust your instincts and trust your gut and trust what you've learned throughout your life and do what works for you. Right. And that's ultimately, like, the biggest lesson that I learned is that, like, I can't judge anybody else for anything that they do with their children or with their job or their schooling or their everyday life. You have to do what works for you. Because if we all did everything the exact same, like, we would all be... What a
boring world.
Well, that, and, like, we'd probably all be, like, nut jobs because we, it's not a one-size-fits-all humanity. Yeah. We'd all have the same job and the same thoughts and the same... You wouldn't have a podcast because it'd be boring.
Right. I also think about that. I was just talking to my friend about that, how she felt like, should she be content in her job or should she want something else? And like, she was like saying, like, I mean, I like my job and, like, I could be doing something else, so it's hard. And I'm like, well, I mean, that's the thing, like, is that, I mean, if you weren't doing this job, then, like, I mean, someone has to be doing it, like, and that's, like, the same for, like, anything. Like, if I want to travel, there's some people who don't want to travel, so there should be, like, people who don't want to travel because otherwise, like, someone needs to stay home, like, someone needs to stay here.
Right? We'd all be living in tents if we all wanted to travel.
Right.
And I think that people... So, for example, like, what I like to do as far as a career is concerned, I really enjoy being an administrative assistant / secretary / office manager, / personal assistant, whatever you want to call it. That is my jam because I like doing the work that no one else likes doing. Yeah. I love being the person that has to deal with the paperwork. I like being the person that makes everyone else's job easier and gets none of the credit. Like, that's just what I like to do. And other people are like, oh, you like administrative assistant? Like, what? Like, the maximum amount that you're going to make a year is, $45,000. Like, that's, like, nothing, and which is true. But at the same time, like, you know what? That's what I like to do. Like, Right. And I'm like, I like making other people's lives easier. Yeah. And that's exactly what administrative assistants do. Like, front desk people, secretaries, that's what they do. They make everybody's life easier in the workplace.
Because, you're the one who, because no one else in the office wants to do that.
Right. So, it's true. Like, you are literally doing what no one else wants to do. And that is your job description. It's like the paperwork and the mail and answering the phones and directing phone calls.
That's literally what I do all day.
Right. So, like, nobody else wants it, but everybody else thinks, like, oh, this is just, like, a jumping off point. This is just the start of your, you know what I mean? And it's not, like, that's a job. That's not a career to most people. But it's, like, you know what? If that is what you want to do with your life, like, then there's nothing wrong with that. Yeah. Do it.
Yeah.
You can be Mildred at the front desk answering phones when you're 85. Like, you do you. And there's nothing wrong with that. If you want to be a freaking Walmart greeter, then do that. Yeah. Like, maybe you just like being that first smiling face that somebody sees during the day. Like, there's nothing wrong with that. Do you.
I think like the core of it, like what I've realized, I think I talked about it before, but like I feel like the core of all of that is like when you feel like, is this okay that I like want to do this? Like, is this all right being a front desk person? Because like no one else wants to do that. So like it must not be okay to have it as a career. And I think like the core of it all is like because we're literally just comparing and like listening to others. Because if you're like if you really enjoy something so much, and like even you as a mom, if you feel like you're doing the best, but then you look at other moms like at the school when you're like, when they're talking about like, oh my gosh, did Camden go into diapers when I don't even know, but like like did he do that? And then they're all like talking and you're just like, I didn't do any of that. Am I a good mom? Or like, I don't want to do anything except for file these papers. Am I doing, like, is this okay? And like, you wouldn't think about that if you literally had like a blindfold on to other people, you know? You'd be so content with your life and what you're doing and feel like everything you're doing is totally fine because you're focusing on that you yourself are fine with doing it and like are content that this is like right.
If we couldn't compare ourselves to other people, I don't know who said it originally, but the saying is that comparison is the thief of joy. And it is so true, because when you look around at other people, you think, I should be doing that, or should I tell them that I'm doing this because it's not what they're doing? Like, oh, they're gonna judge me, and like, who cares? Like, you do you, boo boo. I mean, honestly, like, I say that to my kids all the time because it's true. Like, they'll be like, should I do this? I'm like, do you want to do it? Right. Yeah. Like that. Why are you even asking me? Like, is this, well, because I have to pay for it. But if I didn't do it, ask me, like, you do you.
Loving is easy. You have my. It used to be so hard to see. Yeah, loving is easy when everything's perfect. Please don't change a single little thing for me. Listen, girl, when you can't even hide it, and it didn't take forever to find it. I was all on my own, almost glad to be alone until love came in on time. So loving is
I have had like a lot of like realizations that I'm just super judgmental, but then I think about it and like, because even like, I think I talked about it with Brady and Brittany's. I think I like said something funny and it was just like, maybe I didn't put it on, but like, oh, that's the truth, guys. I edited stuff out to make it sound better. Maybe I should stop doing that and just give it to you raw. But anyway, I think I said something and I was like, but why do people do that? And Brady's like, why does it matter? Like, just let them do that. And like, literally it hit me and I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so judgmental. Like, who cares if people are doing it? And that's the thing, like, it doesn't change my opinion of people at all. Like, it's not like I like them less or anything. It's just like, it's just somehow like that changes where it's like, you're judging them, you ultimately think that what you think is better. And so it's like, oh, I'm totally, even if I don't like, it's not going to change my opinion of them. For some reason, I think like what I think is better. But it's like, what? Just let them do what, like, who freaking cares? Like, if they want to wear their Crocs, freaking let them wear their Crocs. Who cares? Like, why does it matter? They're comfortable. And like, I like, my Twitter has like literally gone in the toilet. I like delete so many tweets every day because I like just tweet like a judgmental tweet, and then I'm like, why did I do that? Why does it matter? Who cares? Let the men wear their man clogs, okay? Who freaking cares? Anyway.
Sometimes it's funny because, you know, like, stereotypes, sometimes they're just funny.
Right.
And so, which oftentimes goes along with being judgmental because, you know, we see people and we can totally, like, look at their outfit and be like, you're totally one of X people or Y people or Z people, and you just know.
Yeah.
But they're more than that, but it's still funny.
It's so, I think that's the thing is like, obviously, yes, I'm going to judge you because you decided to wear that, but also I'm still going to want to hang out with you and, like, get drinks or something. Like, you decided to sign up for this roasting, but I still want to be your friend, you know?
Stuff like that, so you deserve it. Like you
yeah, you did this to yourself, so I'm just trying to let you know, but, like...
Sometimes it's true.
But like, but then I'm like, okay, you know, maybe just let people do what they want. Like, just let them live.
I think there's a difference between judging people and just straight making observations.
Yeah,
like,
you're right.
You know, it's one thing if I guess I feel like what you were describing, where you're like, it's not that like I don't want to hang out with you anymore, or I'm going to assume everything about your person based upon your appearance, and just making observations like, oh, all right, you wear that, I guess you like to do this and be this way, but I'm still going to hang out with you and want to be friends with you. Like, it's not going to stop me from wanting to talk to you or be kind to you or whatever. Like, that's different because that's just human nature. I mean, you're never going to be able to prevent yourself from having first impressions of people. Mm-hmm. It's just, but what you do with those first impressions is what defines whether you're judging someone or just making observations.
Yeah. Someone said, I think I read it in an article or something, but someone was like, because they always felt bad because they, like, judged someone, you know? Like, they're like, oh my gosh, that girl's hair. But then they'd be like, you know what? It's probably just a bad hair day. But they'd, like, feel bad for, like, judging first. And, like, I think it was, like, their mom or something was like, you know what? Usually you can tell someone's, like, the judgment is, like, you know, it's, like, kind of, like, what you were built on. Like, what kind of, you've kind of, like, been society has kind of, like, implemented in your head. Like, you judged her hair because that's, you know, that's kind of weird or something. But then your second reaction is, like, your heart. Mm-hmm. And, like, what your heart is saying. So if you're like, oh, my gosh, her hair. But you know what? Maybe it's just a bad day. Like, that shows your true heart. And the first reaction is just, like, kind of your judgment based on, like, society and stuff.
Kind of I think that's, like, the difference between reaction and then intent. So when you're in a relationship or when you get married or whatever, you are going to argue with your significant other. Mm-hmm. And one thing that really makes the difference when you argue is whether or not you react or you take time to think about what's going on and then respond. So there's a big difference between reacting and responding. And your reaction is that visceral, innate, oh my gosh, you said that to me, I'm going to say this right back.
Right.
Or, you know, and then responding is taking a step back and taking the time to say, like, you know, I know they said that, but I also know that they feel this way and this was going on, and, you know, that makes all the difference in the world when you take the time to take a step back and you respond instead of react.
Right. Right. Wow. I think I read an article on that and I was like, that is so true. Like, because we always just think like, well, our feelings are valid, so I need
Which is not
to
wrong. I mean, that's the thing is like one thing that this is probably the biggest thing that I took away from watching mom and dad in their marriage and everything that they've gone through, and the fact that your feelings are valid. If you feel that way, you feel that way for a reason, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Like there's never, someone's, oh, they're too sensitive, or like, oh, it's just joking, they shouldn't feel that way. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, you feel the way you feel, and there's nothing wrong with that. Like, whether someone else agrees with it or not doesn't matter. If you feel that way, then you feel that way, and it's valid, because it's a very real thing to you.
Right.
Whether or not someone else understands it or agrees with it does not matter. And when you find that person that you want to spend the rest of your life with, that's probably the biggest thing when it comes to communicating, is understanding that they are an entirely different person from me with entirely different experiences, and they're going to feel things that I not only don't understand, but I might not even agree with, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Right.
And so it's like, you have to, when it comes to arguing, that's the biggest portion that, sorry, baby's talking. That's the biggest portion that requires you to respond instead of react.
Yeah.
Because there are so many times where my husband will feel a certain way, and he will... Excuse me, madam. I'm trying to talk here.
Ma'am.
Excuse me. You're being rude. You're being rude. Where my husband will feel a certain way, and he will say something or do something, and I'm just like, no, you're wrong. That's not how life works. Like, get over it. But that's not helpful, or that in no way moves the two of us forward in our relationship. And that's effectively the goal. Is, I mean, you're on the same team, and I love him, and I want nothing more than for him to
die.
I don't perfect timing to say words that you don't actually know. So, I love him, and I want nothing more than for him to succeed in life, and to be happy and healthy, and so for me to respond in a way that's anything less than helpful in moving us forward is counterproductive. Mm-hmm. And, there's just no reason for it. And when I take a step back and I think, like, why would he say something like that? Well, because he's feeling this way. Mm-hmm. Do I think that the way he's feeling is valid? Who cares? Like, that's the way he feels, and that makes it valid, because in my eyes, the way he is valid as a person, and that's why I chose to marry him. Will you just be quiet, madam?
This is mommy's time.
Part of that, I guess, goes back to judging. Oh my gosh.
What is she so excited about?
I'm not sure. But she's like losing her mind over here. Can you just calm down, please? It's probably because I don't normally sit here and talk to myself. I don't normally sit here. Right. I don't normally sit here and talk to other people.
Right. That's so great.
Who are you talking to, Mom?
She's like, maybe I should do it.
No, she really is. But yeah, like, that's the biggest, probably the biggest piece of advice that I could ever offer anybody in a relationship, is that the way that your partner feels is valid.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
And you have to take a step back and respond instead of react, because otherwise what you're telling them is effectively that the way that you feel about the situation is more important than the way they feel.
And that, like, I honestly feel like anything, like, like, that is perfect for, like, relationships, like, romantic relationships, but I feel like that's also important for, like, just, like, friendships, too, definitely, just because, like, and it's, like, I mean, just because it's, like, people, you know, but I think, like, for friendships, too, if, like, you see them as, like, best friends, so if someone is feeling, like, a certain way, then you should be like, okay, I'm kind of annoyed that, like, they're feeling this way, because what the heck, you know? But then it's like, okay, maybe I should actually hear them out. Maybe I should listen and understand, like, their point of view, rather than just be like, because it's I don't know, I think for friendships, it's easier to just be like, well, we don't have to be friends anymore, you know?
Right. That's what I'm just about to say, is that I think most people don't look at friendships that way, because most people, I think, see friendships as something temporal.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know, I don't need to put as much work into this, because I can just go find new friends. Like, if we disagree on how you should be diapering your children, well, then maybe we're not supposed to be friends.
Right.
So they just go find new friends. And sometimes there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you know, maybe there is a big issue that you're just not going to agree on. And so you move on. And that's part of life, too. But at the same time, you also should recognize maybe you're being a little bit high maintenance, and you don't have to agree on everything, and you're going to have times where babies just babble, and there's nothing you can do about it, you know?
Yeah.
And you just have to accept it for what it is.
Just, like, for what just get over it, Donna.
Right?
Yeah.
Gosh, darn it, Dolores.
Jeez Louise, Nancy.
Oh, my Lanta. Mildred.
It's like, what you gonna say? Oh, that's good. That's a good one.
I really want to know you better. You and me should hang together. If I give you love, don't let up. Baby, this is now or never.
Dark silhouettes in the morning. To the jungle, just how you want it. Please don't ignore me. Hey. You're on fire, I know it. Stop, dropping, and roll it. I came here ready for the moment. Oh, baby, you're not alone. Everybody deserves some sunshine. Late night, that you never on time. Why? 'Cause I never let you control me. All you needed was to hold me. Beautiful, didn't you?
Like, you're not even saying words.
Like, you're not even contributing. Linnea, if you're gonna speak, you better freaking contribute something, okay? Or you're off.
You're fired.
Thank you. Jeez. That was coherent.
She never talks to someone. Like, we were at the grocery store the other day, and the cashier was like saying, hi,
She
hello.
just stared at her.
I was like, are you gonna say hi? And she just goes, no.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No.
What
I
a
was like,
turd.
that's like one of, you know, I mean, she knows, I guess, a lot of, like, words, but she was just like, no. I was like, all right.
Okay, well.
Being that baby that won't talk to the cashier, you snob.
I know, isn't that terrible? You have to, like, you have to make excuses, like, oh, she's tired. Don't worry about it. It's not you.
I was like, oh, she's only 18 months, so she doesn't really know how to talk yet. Babies, right?
I always think it's so funny when people use months. Like, she's only, like, 300 months. Don't worry about it. She's 16? Yeah, she's
right.
452 months. I wouldn't worry about it, okay? She's tired.
She hasn't had. It's like 9 in the morning, right? She hasn't had her nap yet.
She doesn't, it's not, you know what? It's not you. She just is like she had a normal nap and she slept through the night and she ate fine. It's not you though. It's fine. It's not you.
Everything has been normal except for you.
I know. Today's a great day for her actually, but it's not you. Don't worry about it.
Speaking of, I have this girlfriend up here who watches. I always think it's funny when people say that. Like, Mom used to say that when she was. All right, off topic from what I was just saying. I interrupted myself. So, Mom, like, when she was younger, she used to always talk about, like, oh, my girlfriend.
I know.
She's like, one day we were in the hallway, and one of the teachers was like, oh, are you two gay? And, like, she meant happy. And, like, because that's what they said for happy back then,
Right.
you know? Like, girlfriend meant my friend that's a girl. And so it's just funny. So whenever I hear people say girlfriend, like, nowadays, you're like, wait, like, girlfriend or, like, girlfriend?
Yeah, literally, I'm so confused. It is such a confusing thing. Because I'm like, okay, so I know that she's married, right? But...
Oh, she doesn't have a girlfriend. But you don't ask if they have a girlfriend, because you're like, that'd be weird.
like...
Or would it? You don't...
Like, okay, when you say, can you just clarify for me real quick? Is this friends?
Are you that big a husband with a woman?
Yeah, like, what do you... What,
So
what do you mean?
Friends, who is a girl?
Yeah, because you don't say boyfriend.
Right? Well, you're right. I don't. Maybe I would though. If
Or
I
you'd
were...
say, I usually say guy friend.
Yeah, there you go. See?
So you could
But
say, I'm sure it would be totally different if you said, like, gal friend.
that might be. Maybe I'll just start saying that so that people don't have to guess whether or not I'm stepping out on my husband with a woman.
Yeah, definitely don't try lady friend, though, because then it's like, are you, like, some middle-aged man?
Anyway, so I have this friend who is a gal who babysits this child who's 2, and she takes 3, yeah, you heard it, 3 2-hour naps a day.
Wait.
Right?
Wait.
Right. She sleeps through the night. So we're talking like she goes to bed at 7:30. She wakes up at like 7:30, which is ridiculous anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm lucky if Linnea sleeps 10 hours. And then she takes a nap at like 9:30 to 11:30, and then like 2:30 to 4:30, and then
my
like
gosh.
6:30. Okay, maybe not 3 2-hour naps, but like 2 2-hour naps, and then 1 like 45-minute nap.
That's still, it's the same thing.
And it's, what? So she just like sleeps. I'm like, where are these children and how do I get one? Because this child barely takes a 2-hour nap, and she only takes 1 a day, and then she might sleep from 8:30 until like 6 in the morning if I'm lucky.
That's
Usually
wild.
30, right? And I'm like, my children just don't like to sleep.
Yeah.
And that was, Lily did the same thing, but I'm like, how do I get a child like this? Where do they come from? What stork dropped that on your doorstep? Because we need that.
Yeah. Hey, what factory did this one come from? I think I got mine at the wrong one. You went to... Wait, where? Oh, mine was from Taiwan. I didn't know China was good. Oh, dang it.
Pretty sure the warranty's up on my 9-year-old though, so I don't know about that. But seriously, like, who, how? I'm just gonna assume that their baby is not going to be as intelligent as mine.
Yeah, that's good. I think that's good. Because when they're sleeping, they're not learning. So
Right?
that's exactly right.
Like, okay, well, your baby is just gonna be good for sleep tests, I guess, because they do. So, hope you're happy about that.
Hope you're happy. Freaking sleep apnea.
Hope you're happy with your sleepy baby.
Hope you're happy with your good skin and your freaking awesome eating schedule and stuff.
Like, they're also building a house up on Saratoga Lake like a second home.
What?
And they have a housekeeper.
What?
And I'm just, well, hope you're happy with your sleepy baby. Every hour that baby sleeps is an hour less that you get to spend with them.
Yeah, sucker.
Think about that.
Think about that when you do get the award for best mom.
Yeah, they both work from home. Like, okay, cool. But you're really happy with your awesome life. Sure.
That's, good job. I bet you're think about that when you, when your kids are really happy with their lives and stuff like that.
Or to send both kids to Skidmore without taking out student loans. But you're really happy about that.
Bet you're, suckers.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be over here slowly turning into a Canadian goose, so eat it.
Sucks for you.
Yeah, sure.
Man, let's pray for them. They need that. They need our help.
Okay.
Down the soft side of where you left my gold rose crown, you broke down and left me with a chest hum, a black gun, and $40. Chest hum, a black gun, and $40. 3 weeks down, I drowned myself in whiskey, came back round and drowned out and left me with a chest hum, a black gun, and $40. Chest hum, a black gun, and $40.
Tell your 20-year-old self, 20 to 23-year-old self.
A piece of advice.
Yeah, something that you wish someone told you. So, like, you're going back from the future to tell your 20 to 23-year-old self this.
I think that I would... This is tough because everyone always asks this question, and there's so many things that if I had it to do over again, that I feel like, oh man, I would totally do that differently. But I think that Grandma Iowa actually said it best when she said to me, she said, if I had it to do over again, I would just make different mistakes. And
exactly. Wow, that's good.
And I'm like, you know what? The mistakes that I made up to this point in my life have made me the person that I am today.
Right.
And I'm not happy with the person that I am. And so looking back, I certainly don't think that I would have done anything different. I think I would have just told myself that, like, I mean, exactly that the mistakes that you're making today are aiding in the development of the person that you're going to be in the future. And that's awesome. And
I like think about that, like when we're just like so regretful about like who we were, like, you know how you just cringe, like your past self is just so cringy, you know?
And I have so many moments, like I'm sure that everyone would love to hear this because they're probably like, oh, my life is just terrible. And I'm like, let me tell you a bit about what terrible actually is. And because you don't know. Like, there are so many moments I look back and I'm like, oh my gosh, if I hadn't done this. But then I'm like, you know what? If I hadn't done that, this wouldn't have happened as a result.
Right.
And like there's no way that I would be sitting here married to the guy that sat behind me in health class in 11th grade. Like, there's no way. Like, I would not be here if I hadn't made all of those mistakes back when I was younger. And I mean, heck, even like yesterday, I wouldn't be here. And so I think that's the biggest takeaway thus far in life, is just that, like, all of the mistakes that I make on a daily basis are aiding and creating the person that I am right now. And I'm happy with who I am. And if you're not happy with who you are, then
change something.
Right. I mean, honestly, and for some people, that's really hard though. I mean, it's not as simple as just like, well, change it.
Yeah.
Like, go out and get that new job, honey. Like, go out and get that new man. Like, it's not that easy for everybody. It's certainly not. And so I don't want to downplay that aspect that, like, life is hard work. But at the same time, I think that's what I would tell my younger self, is just that, like, you know what? This might be really difficult right now, but you're going to get through it.
Yeah.
And you're going to have ups, and everybody's always like, oh, you're going to get better. And then, like, oh, well, in the end, it'll all be okay. So if it's not okay. And right, like, I hate that. I hate that so much. There are, like, those Pinterest sayings where, like, oh, in the end, it'll be okay if it's not the end. Or if it's not okay, then it's not the end yet. I'm like, what? Shut up. Or that one where it's like, if your dreams don't scare you, then you're not dreaming big enough. And I'm just like, what does that mean? Like, why would you be scared of something that you... What? Like, what are these... So if your nightmares don't scare you, like, what? Like,
what are you saying?
Up. Like, I hate...
Shut up. Yeah.
I hate those Pinterest, like, that makes no... But anyway, my point is that you know, it's never 100% okay, because that's life. Like, there's always something that you could do more of, or that you're not doing enough of.
Yeah.
I think that in itself is kind of the point, is that, like, nothing is ever going to be perfect. And that, in and of itself, is what makes life beautiful, is that everyone is imperfect, and everyone has their own little nuances and their own little hang-ups and insecurities and their own quirks, and that is okay, and that is awesome. And just like what we were talking about at the beginning, like, if we all wanted the same things and did the same things and had the same things, then it would be so boring.
Yeah.
And I guess that's what I would tell myself, is that, like, you know what, it doesn't matter if you are in the same place that everyone else is at 21. It doesn't matter that you can't go out with all of your friends every weekend. It doesn't matter that you're sitting at home raising this child and, you know, no one else is in the same stage that you are. Like, what you are doing is what you're doing.
Yeah.
And embrace that and do it to the fullest, because it is aiding and allowing you to become an amazing person down the road.
Right.
And so, I don't know, I guess that would be my diatribe on what I would tell myself. It's just like, accept it and embrace it. Yeah. And every old woman that you pass in the store once you have a baby, just wait. When you have a baby, you go to the grocery store, and every old woman that you pass is like, oh, enjoy it, honey. It goes by so fast. But it's so true. Like, you look back and you think, you know, I mean, on everything, like high school, college, your first job, your first, you know, boyfriend, your first girlfriend, whatever, you look back on it and you're like, man, like, that went by.
Yeah.
Quickly. And even if it didn't, it's like, it's over now, and what can you take away from that experience? Like, we'll take it and hold on to that and learn from it and move forward, because every experience that you had every single day is shaping you into the person that you are now.
I think, like, I, like, don't really have any regrets, because I just try not to, like, I don't know, I just, like, don't really see things as, like, oh, I wish I didn't ever do that, because, like, obviously at first you're, like, freaking embarrassed, or, like, why did I ever do that, you know, but then you're, like, exactly what you're saying, like, well, it taught me something, and, like, I grew from it, so, like, whatever, and, like, and also I just think, like, regrets, I think we kind of, like, when we have, like, cringy past selves, then we're, like, we kind of forget that, like, that's still us, you know, like, that was still us, so, like, you're hating on yourself, and it's like, well, that's still me, though, like, I shouldn't look at myself, like, so badly, like, that was still me. Don't hate yourself, like, you're a different person, I guess, but, like, don't hate yourself because that happened, or, like, you were that way, but, like, anyway,
but, like, every single person that you talk to is gonna be like, oh my god, like, if you ask them, like, what is something that you still think about that happened, like, forever ago that you're still, like, embarrassed about? And, like, every single person has this story, like, oh my gosh, when I was in high school, this happened. And, like, nobody else remembers that except for them. But you still hold on to that because it's like, oh my God, it was so cringy and I can't believe that happened.
Yeah.
But it's
And, like, no one cares because they were all thinking of themselves being embarrassing, you know? But
they have nobody remembers.
Right. Okay, crap. I was going to say something and I forgot. I think, what did I say? It was my big regret. Oh, frick. It was so good. I just forgot. Oh my gosh.
Alexis, what is your biggest regret in life?
No.
Oh,
What were you talking about to make me go on that? Oh, I'm ticked. How do I not remember? I'll probably listen back to this and be like, oh, duh. Yeah, we'll just have the viewer or the listeners be like, what was she going to say? Tune in next week.
All right. Love you.
Thanks for being on the pod.
Bye.
Okay, bye.